Hello delegators, welcome to another live stream with Titan Node, the #1 place to delegate your stake. Today we're talking about Livepeer price prediction. And if you haven't got it in the title already, the question is, will Livepeer hit $200? I'll give you the quick answer. The quick answer is yes. I believe Livepeer is going to hit $200. The long answer is me explaining why I think it's going to hit $200. So that's what we're going to go through in this video and go through what I think is going to make Livepeer hit the $200 mark from where it is today. Hopefully it's going to hit this by the end of 2021. So if you're watching this in 2021, thank you for tuning in. If this is later, then maybe go check out some of the other videos on later price predictions. So here we go. The reason I think Livepeer is going to hit $200 in 2021. So I'll start by sharing my screen here, and I'm going to do the typical introduction, which is just going through the latest in Livepeer tokenomics and some updates about Livepeer. So there's going to be 4 topics I'm going to be covering in this video. The first is comparison to other Web3 protocols and their prices. The second is tokenomics. The third is revenue, and then the fourth is large players, so big cap hedge funds that are investing, right? So the first is comparison. So I first want to talk a little bit about the price of Livepeer. It is currently sitting at about $22.65. If we look at the 1 month chart, that's bringing us up from about $16 about 30 days ago. Since then, we've been seeing some pretty large changes in price. So we had this really large uptick from about $18 up to 28, pulled back a little bit to 21, some new resistance. And then this was an impressive day. This was actually my last live stream on the 19th when it went from about $20 up to 35, well 31 right here. But on Binance, it shows us that we actually wicked right up to about $36.50 that day. So some large amount of gains just right in here. But if you were in it more than 30 days ago, you're still up, which is really, really great. So, in the long term, or even the short term, in the past couple months, Livepeer has performed really well. In the summer, it was down to about $12, $22 now, but I think the price is nice and stable. And the first prediction on why I think Livepeer is probably going to hit $200 is we're going to come and do some comparison. So Web3 is this whole idea that the new internet is decentralized, right? And you have these layers of internet protocols that have a purpose, which creates the decentralization. That is called the Web3 stack, right? So you have Web 1, which is like HTML and static web pages, right? Imagine a newspaper on the internet. Web 2 being you can now interact with the web. So think Facebook, MySpace, these kinds of things. Web 3 is the interacting with it, but on a blockchain in a decentralized manner, right? So it's not an owned server, but it's decentralized. So if we look at the Web3 index, this gives us kind of a list of the top 6 Web3 protocols currently, and it gives you their revenue and how they're doing. Now, Livepeer is number 2 on the list, which is really great. But what really is impressive is that it has revenue, and the other coins around it, like Filecoin and the Graph, are comparable in this Web3 ecosystem. So if we go back to what the market cap of Livepeer is, we're sitting at about 479 million in market cap, right? That's what brings us to our $22. If we take that in comparison to, oh, and by the way, a bit on tokenomics right here, of that 480 million market cap, 500 of it would be its fully diluted market cap. So it shows us right here that our supply, our circulation, most of it is in circulation. So there's not going to be a large influx of new tokens anytime soon, right? But I'll come back to that later. I just really want to focus on this $479 million market cap, right? So if we look at, let's say, Aweave. let's go take a look at Allweave, the one above us, right? Allweave is sitting at a market cap of about 1.5 billion, right? So about 3 times the size of Livepeer, right? $48. What's interesting is the circulating supply is only about 50% minted, so its diluted market cap is about 3 billion. But let's take this 1.6. Let's bring out the old trusty calculator. So, 479 billion divided by 1.6 billion, which would be at 1600, I guess. And I did it backwards, of course. This divided by 479. We got about a 3.3 times greater market cap in Allweave, right? So if you were to come back to that price of $22 times that 3.3, that brings us to a price of $72. Okay, that's if you were to compare it against Allweave, which it has revenue and is currently number 1. So, okay, so we can say that our baseline for what we could do in a comparison model would be at least Livepeer could be worth $72, right? But let's look at Filecoin, right? So Filecoin is FIL, and Filecoin is sitting at a market cap of 6.6 billion. Okay, but Filecoin has less revenue than Livepeer. It actually has half the revenue. Okay, so if we go back, oh sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. If we go back, we can see that 479, or actually 6,500 divided into 4, we get about a 13.5 market cap difference between these two coins, even though they're comparable in revenue. Maybe Filecoin does a little more one week, and then Livepeer does another a little more the next week. So they're kind of competing in that revenue. And if we were to look at how much adoption there is, revenue is one of the ways to tell how much their adoption there is. So 13.5 times the current price of Livepeer, which is $22, brings us to 298. Okay, now 298 would mean that it's just at the Filecoin level at today's date, which is like number 29 on the list and doing the same revenue, right? So, and the nice thing about Filecoin too is it's in full circulating supply as well. So very similar to how Livepeer is when it comes to its tokenomics, its market cap, its full circulation. It has the ability to 13x just to get the current price of what Filecoin is doing, right? And both of them are considered Web3, and both are considered essential for the web stack, right? Okay, so that's Filecoin. That brings us to 298. Okay, let's look at one more just on this list, just for comparison. We'll do the graph. The graph is a great protocol. It's very similar. It's like decentralized in Google kind of thing. If we look at the graph, GRT, we are seeing that, let this load real quick. The graph is sitting at, why is this taking so long to load? Anyway, the graph, okay, anyway, the point is, we gotta wait for this web page to load. GRT. The graph is sitting at 1/5 the revenue of Livepeer for its week, and it's sitting at 31,000 for its 90-day revenue, right? So, very interesting. Not a whole lot of revenue in comparison to Livepeer. Let's hop over here. Doesn't seem to load. Wonder if I'm still connected to the internet. Let's just double check that real quick. Is CoinMarketCap down? I don't understand. Whatever. Let's try out GRT in Binance. There we go. That worked well. Although it doesn't show me the market cap of it. Anyway, I think the market cap of the graph is about, it should show me right here. Where is it? the graph. It's 4.3 billion currently, the market cap for the graph, right? So again, 4.3 billion divided into the market cap over Livepeer gives us 8.9 times the size, right? Times its 22 mark, and bang, we land just under that $200 mark. Actually, if you included the price of Livepeer, which is actually, I think, 22.25 times 8.9 right now. Yeah, just about there. So Livepeer, in comparison to today's protocols of where it could be, is definitely, low side $72, high side, $200. I think it's definitely possible for realistically that protocol to catch up to the other protocols in the Web3 index, right? Now, are these apples and oranges? Can you really compare values to other protocols? I mean, Shiba Inu right now is absolutely blasting off this planet, and it's catching right up to Doge. Actually, they're the same market cap. Dogecoin and Shiba are the same market cap. This has caught up. They're kind of in the same ecosystem, right? Similar to like how Ethereum and Solana's caught up. It's in that like ETH killer ecosystem, right? Same with Cardano and Polkadot, but really the Web3 ecosystem is in its own little bubble as well. So I do think it can get there. The second thing I want to talk about is tokenomics. Okay, so tokenomics is this idea that price is dependent based on the specific way that the token is minted and how it circulates, right? And right now we can also look at the unbonding period for Livepeer. I usually cover this. And right now in the last 3 months, we can see that there's been a little more unbonding. Right here, there was only 24 and 300. That was the last live stream I did. Since then, we had 103,000 unbond, kind of 6,000 in there, 1,000 here, not much going on, 200. And then about a 72,000 Livepeer token unbond there. So there was some unbonding being done, and then 1,000 and 0. So you can see that there's a little bit of unbonding. I would consider those whales, but the unbonding period for Livepeer is 7 days, and after 7 days, you have access to your tokens. So that kind of affects the tokenomics of it a little bit. And with this idea of Livepeer being fully minted, so the way they originally put out Livepeer was this thing called a Merkle mine, right? So everyone gets distributed, everyone has an Ethereum address, gets distributed some amount of Livepeer, and then it's fully minted, right? And so there's no treasury or anyone that holds a large amount of Livepeer that's going to come out randomly, right? And so you have this tokenomic factor where you have this, I call it the squeeze, right? You have bonding, which you can't unbond right away. So if we go up in price really quickly, we can't get too many people unbonded all that quick, right? We have a 50% participation rate. So if we head over to the Livepeer Protocol Explorer, we have 58% of people bonded currently. So about half the network is bonded into that 7-day lockup period, right? So if it ever wicks up, or if it really wants to go on a bull run, you have 50% of the people that are actually locked up in the protocol completely, right? And then you have this idea of it is useful, right? So you don't have people just speculating on it all the time, right? So a bit of tokenomics could definitely cause the squeeze of the price, right? Yeah, definitely that. The next thing I want to talk about is revenue. Livepeer has this like steady increasing of usage, right? I know you can't really use PE ratio in this context because Livepeer would have 1,000 or 10,000 PE ratio, and Filecoin would be, 100,000 PE ratio, and God forbid the graph is at 1 million PE ratio. So it's really hard to use that because, until these protocols really start generating a lot more revenue, it's hard to use that as your gauge. But you can see the trend of it getting adoption, right? So this is minutes transcoded on the Livepeer network, and right from early 2020, so this is about a year and a half of history, you can see that it starts off with 1,000 minutes transcoded, up to 100,000, up to 500,000 right in here, up to 1 million, and then about 2 million transcoded minutes. And as you see in adoption curves, and then you have even up to 3.6 million minutes transcoded. So, and this little drop off right here, this is just the current week. So we have to wait till October 30th before we can see this, where this ends up. So ignoring this last candle, because it doesn't really count yet, for a couple more days. This is your latest since September. So for the last two and a half months, you have this nice adoption level of amount of usage, right? And it's rising and it's on this upward trend. So the usage for this is actually going up. Fee volumes, again, fee volumes should kind of go in line with the transcoded minutes, but the fee volume is increasing as well, right? So this is what's going to drive investors to be interested, because delegators receive interest, they receive payments from transcoded minutes from orchestrators, because orchestrators do the work, they do the transcoding, and they share their profits with delegators, right? So you have this idea of revenue that's really pushing up the coin, and it's increasing consistently. So will LPT hit $200 before the end of this year? Maybe, that's kind of speculative. Will it hit it into 2022, 2023, heck, even 2030? I predict there's a 99% chance we're going to be hitting $200 Livepeer in the next 5 years, 10 years, right? Like, just there's no problem with that price point for this coin, especially when it's only worth 500, not even 500 million right now, right? So if you're a long-term investor, and if you're looking 5 to 10 years out, you're looking at a 10x return in 5 years. That's massive for a coin that actually does work for actual customers, right? It's not just your Shiba Inus or your Doge coins going up in value for no arbitrary reason, other than somebody wants to sell it for a higher price, right? There's actual revenue being generated for this coin from actual paying customers. So yeah, that is like long term. I think I'm going to hit 200 at the end of this year. I do think it's going to hit 200 by the end of this year, but maybe I'm not quite right. Maybe it'll take a couple more years after that. So that's revenue, right? And tokenomics. The last thing I want to talk about is large scale investors. So, when it comes to the adoption, here is the graph for Titan Node's backend, the transcoders that we have working. So we have Canada, Netherlands, and the US. So these are active transcoders that are doing work. You can see there's 23 streams here, 9 streams in Netherlands, and 16 streams in the US. So, you can see it's consistently getting work. These are days, right? So this is a 7-day chart. And you can see every day there's lots of transcoding happening. This is around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. You can see, right around dinner time, lots of people are doing transcoding work, right? So a lot of people are live streaming in the evening, right? Which is very typical. So you have these waves, these days where the transcoding work gets done. And that is because we have real life paying customers. And so the adoption of Livepeer, as they come in, there's more revenue coming in. So this is just kind of a panel on how much our transcoders are doing here in Titan Node. And if you want to delegate to Titan Node, we've actually hit, I think, number 22 on the Livepeer Explorer. We're currently sitting at 135,000 Livepeer staked to us. And you can go ahead and stake to us, or really any orchestrator that you see is a good opportunity to mint new coins and get some revenue. So if you don't know how to stake, please check out the other videos on the channel. There's other videos on how to stake, where to stake, and all that stuff, right? So Ultimate Livepeer Staking Guide by Titan Node. Go check it out. The last thing I want to talk about is the institutional investors. And this is what really caught my eye back in early 2021, about January, when Grayscale had announced that they're building a Livepeer trust. Because Grayscale is a big player. They have lots of Bitcoin under management, and they decided to skip tons of coins in the top 100 on CoinMarketCap and skip right to Livepeer. So this is Grayscale's Twitter account, and right here every day they publish what their current holdings are for different coins, right? So as you can see, Livepeer is actually an active product that they sell investments for, right? So on here is, your Bitcoin, your basic attention token, Decentraland, Filecoin. They actually don't have a whole lot. Like they don't even have Polkadot, Cardano, Solana, like any of these like pretty sought after ones. But they have Livepeer. They have Livepeer on here. And they have 14 million under management for Livepeer. What's crazy is if we look at Filecoin, which we just looked at, had a $6.6 billion market cap, they only got 5 million under management. So what does Grayscale know that gives them 3x more exposure to Livepeer than Filecoin, right? Or even Chainlink. Chainlink is like a $15 million market cap coin. It's got 9 million allocated in there, right? Basic attention token, again, 3.9. Oh, that would be less. Yes, that's less than Livepeer, 3.9, right? And basic attention token is still worth more on market cap than Livepeer. So I'm not sure, Livepeer, they've really, a large scale investor has decided to really take their chance on Livepeer because they clearly have done the research, right? To skip so many coins that people really think are good quality, and they moved into Livepeer, right? Multicoin Capital is really interested in Livepeer and what it provides. So, these large hedge funds are investing in tiny coins that are worth less than $1 billion, and yet they've got big allocations to them, right? So that usually says something that at least, they don't pick coins just because they like the look of them, like a Dogecoin or an NFT that's a random, CryptoPunk. They usually do it because they see the future in it and much more fundamental basis, right? So that is kind of my argument why I think Livepeer is going to hit $200. Not sure if you agree. If you do agree, throw it in the comments below. And if you don't agree, throw it in the comments below. Either way, just, let me know what you think. What I'm going to do for the end of this video is just do a little Q&A. I got about a couple questions that I found from Telegram and Discord that I'm going to share with you. So I will go back to full screen here, and I will bring up these questions that I will answer. And so the first question is from Telegram, and it is: Does any know what the cost of unstaking is? Does anyone know what the cost of unstaking is what he's saying. Yes, the cost of unstaking does require 2 transactions. So the first transaction being the unstaking period. So you unstake it and you have to wait 7 days. The second transaction is redeeming it after the 7-day bonding period. And I think the first transaction is 350,000 Gwei, so like maybe $129 today, and then another $50 transaction after that. So unbonding does take probably about $200 right now in total. And yeah, so if you've got enough, if you're only bonding or unbonding one LPT, it's probably not worth it until layer 2 comes, which is in a couple months. So if you are unbonding or rebonding, just make sure you're trying to get those low gas fees, because we got to wait till layer 2 comes, which is the Confluence upgrade, by the way. Next question from Telegram: Is there a LPT USD event soon? I think what he's mentioning is the listing of new pairs on different exchanges. The great thing about LPT is it is actually pretty much listed on every big exchange. In fact, they are listed on Binance. They do most of their volume on Binance. They're on Coinbase. They're on Kraken. They're on Gate, KuCoin. Like, they've pretty much listed themselves everywhere, which wasn't the case when I first got involved in 2020 is when I first picked up my first Livepeer. You could only buy it on Uniswap and Gate. So since then, we've had adoption from much bigger players on who can trade LPT and add liquidity. So currently, yeah, LPT USD is a pair on Binance. Next question from Discord. Despite the bearish market, LPT is still on the bullish side. Yeah, it depends how far you look back. If you look back in the last 30 days, of course it's still bullish. We're up from $16 to 22. We hit a peak of 35. So if you consider that pullback, that would be bearish. But really, bullish is the trend for the last 30 days, right? Last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's all been bullish. So yeah, I do believe it's going to be bullish for a while. The next question from Telegram. Can we ask Shan to create a price discussion channel in Discord? That's a great question. Shan, for those of you who don't know, Shan is the head of community and has the ability to manage all the different channels on the social networks. So right now, Discord is actually, no one really talks about price in Discord. It's more just kind of left for Telegram. But for the people that want to talk about price, just like this video, which I don't do very often, this is kind of a different style of video. I usually do educational videos about Livepeer, but I did want to talk about a price prediction because people like that. And people find interesting these kind of videos, and if it can get them intrigued into what Livepeer does, then maybe they'll come join as an orchestrator or a delegator, right? And that's probably one of the best decisions they'll make, is joining a community, a token, a project where there's actual customers and we're doing actual work and making the web a new and exciting and better decentralized place, right? So yeah, I think there should be a channel for price discussion in Discord, and then that way I can post more of these videos in there. The next question is from Telegram. Can somebody tell me the future potential all-time high for this coin? Well, I think it's $200 and above. Because, I mean, you are saying all-time high. So all-time high could be anything, even from now until 50 years from now. So, I mean, I wouldn't make a 50-year prediction on a type of coin like this. That would be ridiculous. So I'm going to stick with my year-end, 2021 year-end, 200. And if that doesn't make it, then that's fine, because we'll get there eventually. In 5 years, there's no doubt it's going to be $200. So what's the all-time high? Above $200. That's my answer to that. And the last question for this live stream is, where can I check the price of the Livepeer solution? So the Livepeer solution is it's livepeer.com. You can check the pricing there, and they have a list of how much it costs to do transcoding if you're like an app developer or anything like this. So yeah, there's definitely I think it's about 10x cheaper than like Google or Amazon Web Services. So yeah, go check that out. Just go to livepeer.com. Oh, and you know what I didn't check? I didn't check YouTube comments. Let's just bring that up real quick. If I bring this over like, hold on, if I just bring this over like this, there, I can read the comments. We'll try that out. So the first one is, I'll take this question down. Okay. The first question is from YouTube. How long does it take to unstake LPT? Just curious about the process. Yes, I did kind of answer that. Basically, it is 7-day unstaking period, and you have to wait for the 7 days for it to unstake, which I think does affect its price action, right? Because when you have really bullish, that's actually what's probably going to cause a lot of the price action in Livepeer, those wicks, those ability for it to really run up really fast, is because 50% of the network is bonded, right? So they have to wait 7 days and during that time, if you have lots of buying pressure, they're not going to be able to sell. So 7 days, it's 2 transactions on the blockchain. When Confluence comes out, the upgrade, you might have a couple more transactions. Okay, great. The next question is, I had to pay $200 in ETH to unbond. Yes, that is correct. You probably did. Solar Farm says, any idea why Kraken won't let US buyers purchase LPT? Great question. You know, I don't know what it is about US regulations, but almost on any exchange, you are forbidden to buy or speculate or participate in any coin in the US, right? And I think it's just because of USDT. It's, the reserve currency of the world, blah, blah, blah. But US regulators really have clamped down on that. And so even like a protocol like DYDX. So DYDX is like this on-chain margin trading platform, right? And it is based in the US, but yet I think it's based in the US. Might not be. But DYDX, you can speculate on layer 2 doing margin trades, and it forbids anyone in the US or US territories to use their protocol whatsoever, right? I'm up in Canada, so I don't have these restrictions. I can pretty much trade every coin. I hop onto Binance. I can buy and sell and move around. Doesn't seem to be a problem. So, US customers just need to either move overseas or, I don't know, some of them use a VPN, which is not supposed to do it. By the way, not investment advice or any advice on how to get onto these platforms. So yeah, some LPT is restricted, but that's just because all of these ERC20 coins are restricted. And I think it's just because of how the US has deemed them as probably like a security, right? So they need to follow all the guidelines and all this kind of stuff. Solar Farm says, yes, I can buy on Gemini. Okay, well, I would buy it on Gemini then. There you go. That's a way around it. It's perfect. Yeah, I don't know. Different exchanges have different problems. Like Binance and all these other things, they are all very different. So it's really, really weird. Do you think media transcoding could eventually evolve into decentralized gaming servers where people use hardware from PCs all over the world to achieve great latency, unlike other platforms? With great latency instead of Standia, for example, where lag is awful when streaming from their centralized servers. I mean, me questions this. Boy, that's a long question. I'm going to try and answer that. I'm going to reread that a little bit because I do believe I could answer this. Do you think media transcoding will eventually evolve into decentralized gaming service? Yes. Yes. In fact, there is a company called Intia GP. I have to look it up. They are, I have a bookmark for them. I might be able to bring it up. They are ASIC GPU transcoding chips. So similar to how BTC has ASIC chips to do BTC mining, we use NVIDIA GPUs for their encoding and decoding chips, and that's what powers Livepeer. So when live stream any video of any kind, whether it's live streamed from a video game, anything, when it comes in through the ingest server, it gets transcoded on our NVIDIA chips, encoding, decoding, sent back out at multiple bit rates, right? Well, now they're coming out with ASIC chips. So ASIC meaning it's just application specific, meaning they don't do gaming, they don't do anything else other than this one thing, which is transcoding. And you can bulk buy from them, and they have written a white paper on how they think the future of video streaming is going to go. And their whole thesis was, in 2015 we had, I think 500,000 people live streaming at a time. 2021 we have 4 million people live streaming at a time, and by 2025 we're going to have 40 million people live streaming at a time. And what we need to do is create, rather than these centralized servers that do all the transcoding, and we all have to connect them from afar. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have bounce points that are closer to each gaming point, right? So rather than it being 150 milliseconds for you to get to the server in wherever you want to call it, LA and back, you're going to have micro nodes that are going to do the transcoding and send back within 20 milliseconds, say, from like a cell tower from a game. And what you're going to end up having is, rather than having the application on your phone or device interacting with a server, what you're going to have is simply just an interface that's live streaming what the server has running the application, right? So the application is not running on your phone. You're just live streaming to where the application is, but it's so fast that it feels real time, and then you don't actually have to run the program on your device. You can just live stream it from a computer that can run it much faster. And so what it does is nobody has to download an application ever again. You never have to go to the App Store to download anything. You open up a browser, it's instant. You don't have to download anything. There's no, and that's the future of like, what do you call, like convenience, right? So you're going to have live streamed applications rather than, and that just falls right into what like Livepeer does, right? It's this network of nodes in a decentralized manner that can be within 20 milliseconds of any end user, right? That combined with fiber is probably going to be the future, right? So applicationless live streamed video games, right? So that's the purpose. That was their whole thesis in the white paper. Really good white paper. I would really highly recommend watching it. So yeah, people, hardware, PCs, yeah. With great, yeah. So lag is awful streaming centralized servers. Yes, it is. It's really bad. US buyers can buy it on Gemini. Oh yes, I already answered that. That's freaking awesome. With crypto gaming on the rise, that functionality would be incredible. Authority null, by the way. Sorry for the run on questions. Great. Hey, thank you for joining us, Null. Yeah, I think gaming and crypto are still a little ways away. I don't think haven't quite connected the way that people want it to, like with NFTs and in-game payments. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it's coming. It's coming. And one of the reasons I think that is that way is because the famous Diablo 3 blunder. So I think it was Diablo 3 where they had real world trading inside the game, and it turned out to be a huge failure. And it turned out to be a huge failure because you didn't actually have to play the game anymore to win. You just had to be really good at trading, or an economist who understood marketplaces in order to beat the game. So it was better to sit on the auction house trading than it was to actually play the game. And it took away from the game so much that it got such a bad review, and they ended up abandoning the whole idea of a real-world auction house in Diablo 3. So there's kind of a use case of like why gaming shouldn't have NFTs and currencies in it, like with blockchain. But then there's some games like Axie Infinity where it's completely built on the blockchain, and that's the whole idea of the game, and that's what makes it fun. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that mixed with live streaming, applicationless live streaming through Livepeer networks, I mean, it's all so new and probably going to be the future, right? So, could you link me that Discord at some point? Yes, I will link that to you on Discord. It is a really interesting white paper. It's 19 pages long, and pretty much gives you a really good synopsis of like what Livepeer is trying to achieve. So it's almost like the Livepeer white paper, but from a commercialized standpoint on the ASIC they're trying to sell. Really, really cool. I could probably bring it up here. Hold on. I'm going to make this full screen. What was the name of that company? You know what? I don't think I can find it. It's going to be too hard. I will link it to you in Discord, so look for that. Cool. Hey, have you seen this new thing from NVIDIA regarding streaming/gaming? Suppose you could get the equivalent of a 3080 in the cloud. Suppose you could get the equivalent of a 3080 in the cloud. Have you seen this new thing from NVIDIA? I don't know. No, I have not seen it. I don't know what you're specifically talking about, but I think what you're saying is there is a cloud server or service where you can buy GPU transcoding power, and it's in the cloud. I guess that's what you're referring to. Yeah, definitely cool. Definitely want to check that out. This whole thing is definitely going to be big, and that's why I'm really excited to be a part of Livepeer. Yeah, there would need to be a balance there. Wow, didn't know about Diablo 3. Yes. The Diablo 3 thing was a big mishap, and I was there for the launch of Diablo 3, and it was a cool game, but the whole auction house thing really messed it up. So, yeah, interesting. Solar farm. If it's centralized server, the latency would probably be pretty poor. Yeah, again, that's another problem with these centralized servers is there's good things and bad things about centralized servers. Centralized servers can give you really good uptime. They can be managed really well and profits extracted very well as well. But what needs to happen, I think the real benefit from decentralization is not only just a 10x reduction in price, because that's already true, right? Because you don't have people gouging you, but you have a 10x increase in performance as well. Rather than 200 millisecond latency going to a centralized server, you can have a 20 millisecond latency of a colo location or a local data center, right? So your phone hits the nearest cell tower, and your cell tower is going to a data center that's within a couple miles of that tower, getting transcoded, and then either being sent to the new device where people need to watch it, or being sent to a server where it's interacting and then sending back the data, right? So yeah, I think this idea of like micro nodes around is going to be the really the big kicker when it comes to these kinds of things. There is another company called Flux that just reached out to me. Actually, they spin up decentralized nodes on the Flux blockchain. Kind of interesting. They're looking at doing a collab between Livepeer and Flux. So we'll have to see how that goes. So yeah, very, very interesting. But what I'll do is I will end it there. Thank you so much for watching. This was a bit of a different video. We talked about price, ended off with a little Q&A. Tell me if you liked the video. Tell me if you liked the format. Tell me if it was too clickbaity, if there was too much, talk about price. Maybe you don't like price. Maybe you do like price, right? I know the Livepeer community in Discord, we don't talk about price ever. And that's actually one of the things that attracted me to the protocol, was that we weren't just a price token. We were a token that talked about the actual problem we were solving, helping customers, bringing decentralization to live streaming, and all these wonderful things. So definitely interesting to see how much I'm going to talk about price. My next video will probably be more about technicals on starting up your own node, how to get into transcoding, how to make some revenue with your GPUs and your resources, right? So stick around for those. If you liked it, please like a thumb up. Please leave a thumb up. Leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. That'd be awesome. And if you can't do that and you're really interested in helping out, go ahead and delegate to the Titan Node Orchestrator. We appreciate it, and we love all our delegators, and we do this for you. So thanks for watching, and have yourself a great day.